Ladies and gentlemen, Robocash.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi everyone. So I'm here to talk to you today about Robocash, the cashback spam killer. So the biggest problem we have right now is that spam is out of control. Robocalls and spam calls. We used to get 1 billion a month in 2015, and now in 2020 we get 5 billion a month. For every 5 billion calls a month, we lose $5 billion in fraud from everyday Americans. This is in spite of the fact that we have had laws and apps fighting this problem for decades. Their efforts have had no effect on this trend in spam volume, so clearly we need to do something different. The opportunity here is this major pain point. There is this divide between everyday users who spend $0.1 billion trying to fight spam, malicious spammers who steal $5 billion a year from the users, and legitimate businesses who spend $1.5 billion trying to bridge that gap. And the reason that this has been a problem, the reason they haven't been stopped, is because there's economic incentive to continue this process. And by that I mean, in 2018 alone, fraudsters stole $10 billion from US citizens. And FTC fined them $208 million, but only collected $7,000. Congress' response was to raise the fine from $1,500 to $10,000. The truth is here, jurisdictional challenges prevent enforcement of these fines. These people are overseas, they're criminal, and you won't catch them. Cheap technology makes detection and filtering obsolete, and we should not rely on Congress and carriers for the solution. So our solution is to directly tackle the economic incentives here. We block all unknown numbers unless they leave you a nano deposit. Your contact list will get through. To make this happen, all we need is your phone number, no personal data. So a nano deposit is a way to establish trust between two unknown parties. If the unknown caller does not leave you a nano deposit, they don't ring your phone, they get sent straight to voicemail. If they leave you a nano deposit of 5 cents and you pick up and that call time lasts more than 25 seconds, they get a full and immediate refund. However, if they leave you a nano deposit and you hear that usual nonsense, then you can hang up before that time and you'll collect 80% of their deposit while Robocash collects 20% of that. This is how we directly address the economic incentive that exists in this system. So now our opportunity becomes a way to make it much more difficult for malicious spammers to survive in this system, while at the same time giving legitimate businesses a financial platform in which they can send you microtransactions in exchange for sales and data. Essentially, they can call you and say, stay on the line and we'll pay you 25 cents for every minute that you talk to us. And we've had businesses that have been interested in doing these things. Now, the user product is incredibly simple. One of the reasons we make it free is so that we can reduce the financial frictions of accessing that product. We also need to make it intuitive. So with 3 clicks, by registering your phone number, letting us access your contact, and letting us make and manage your call, everything else we do for you in the background, so you don't have to worry about unknown calls anymore. Our technology, the competitive landscape here is vast. Our forefathers here have showed us everything of what not to do, but they've done a lot of good work, and because of their efforts, we know now how to tackle the real problem. And essentially what happens now, we have a lot of things that they don't have, which is automated detection, the ability to see that economic incentives are the real problem, and that's what we should be tackling. So to make this grow, we need to get as many users as possible. This is stage 1 of our strategic approach. And again, we want to make this free, so the free version of Robocash will just be completely free for you. There's also a paid version of $1 in case you want to increase your nano deposits to be, instead of 5 cents, to be 25 cents or $1 or $10 up to 1,000. I don't think that's going to be a great thing right now. Anyways, we start by focusing in the cities that are most plagued by the spam problem. Dallas and Houston get 480 million spam calls a month. They are the number 2 and number 4 cities that have the most spam call volume. So that's where we start, and that's how we increase our network effect. We also start on university campuses so that students can run around and download this application onto their parents' phones or anyone else's because it's free. So then, at that point, we create a paid product to let our business customers breach that gap and essentially talk with you in exchange for your time. The microtransactions in exchange for your data and sales. So 3 different products that we have here is basically a freemium premium SaaS model where we take a cut off of that transaction that they send to you while you end up making the majority of that. And that is stage 3 and stage 4, where we encourage dynamic markets between our business customers and our users while still enabling you to have full control of whether you want to receive that call or not. And then we essentially grow into a democratic advertising platform where you get paid for your data the way that it should have been in the first place. Our corporate strategy has been great. We recently got into Evo Nexus. I got in actually a couple of weeks after my 1 million cups talk. We are basically looking to exit or not exit, but raise the Series A in Q4 of 2021. And our potential exit strategies here are to work with payment platforms like Venmo and Robocash who want to add some features to their application, or work with tech companies like Apple and Google who make phones and want to get rid of the spam call problem, or just go straight into the marketing platform with Saatchi and Saatchi. So we're asking for a $50,000 safe for a pre-seed. We're completely bootstrapped right now. We're in the process of developing an Android app, looking at a Q1 late release. And the overall strategic vision here is, why would businesses pay for this? So in the very beginning here, businesses, honest callers and malicious robocallers will be making some amount of money. And as we grow the number of Robocash users in the telecommunications network, there's going to be less phone numbers that answer calls from unknown numbers. So we reduce the supply of phones that pick up calls from unknown numbers, and we increase the demand for those numbers. That's because at this stage, when we have a large segment of Robocash users, they're going to be feeling the pain. Right now, it's not such a pain, but we're going to make that a problem for the businesses, and then we're going to sell them a solution, which helps us differentiate between malicious robocallers and honest businesses. So why now? Spam calls are at an all-time high. We speak a simple global language of cash. It means we can deploy the solution everywhere globally, since we just use cash. And I like this last line. It's one of my favorite ones. Let's show the world what it means to be American: freedom, innovation, and a hatred of scam calls. Our team and advisors are great. We have a few tech folks. Gerald Martins, who's sitting in the back over there, is the sales guy. He is amazing. I love that he's on the team. And we have a couple of great advisors. So our 1 million cup ask is, do you see the bigger picture? Did I explain the concept clearly? And do you know anyone who is interested in investing? Thank you.
Cool. About 5 minutes. All right, you know what, let's just jump back in. We're a little short on time, and I'm hearing a lot of the same questions and discussions in the room, so let's just do this as a group. I think it'll be a little more productive. All right. So, who wants to get... Awesome.
I hit something, and it's not... What did I hit?
Now, did you... right here?
That's a great presentation, thank you.
Actually, wait,
Actually, our group still have some questions.
One more second. Let's show respect to the speaker. Thanks. Awesome.
Thank you for the presentation. Our group still curious about what's that nano deposit, how it works. So do you need a legitimate business owner to register your app or to make the profits or something like that?
Right, so Nano Deposit, we use a distributed ledger as a value transfer. You may have heard of it as a blockchain. We use a fee-free real-time version. So essentially you need to have purchased some of that. So as a business owner, you would just factor that into the cost of your user acquisition. When you need to reach out to users, you will pay to reach out to users. You will learn the system. As everyday users, you don't need to worry about buying anything. You can reap the benefits of this by simply having an account with $0 in your wallet.
Okay. One of my group member also have comments. She said she doesn't feel comfortable about the name of the company, Robocash, because even me, when I heard it, it's kind of I'm kind of cautious about, are you trying to take money away, something like that? Yeah, that's just all comments. Thank you.
Good feedback.
Our group had some questions on seeing the value from the consumer side. If I'm only getting just say 3 or 4 or 5 calls a month as a user that are what seems like a robocall, I don't think I would see the value in the app, as in I have to give all my personal data, my contacts. I'm setting up now in a bank account so that I can get a transfer or some kind of transfer mechanism for the cash for just maybe 25 cents, 50 cents a month or something like that. So like the incentivization program, it seems like it would need to be much higher for the majority of people to sign up for the programs.
I agree. So the 5 cents and 25 seconds are two tunable variables. My expertise, I did a PhD in scalability of nanomaterials, and I'm very scalable focused. And I also did a lot of experimentation with tunability. So the 5 cent deposit, it's just a tunable feature. That's what we start off with, just to see how this thing goes. It may go up to as much as 50 cents, $1 per call, $2 per call. Basically, we set up the platform where we can negotiate for you and talk with businesses and find some common ground to see how much do we need to bring you on. That's on the individual scale. On the collective societal scale, every person that joins in is essentially helping us start a revolution where we say we won't answer any more calls unless there's a deposit on the line. And that way we can make the telecommunication system work for us.
So if this is on blockchain, is it being tokenized, and if so, are you taking a capital gains then? If you're taking your 25 cents, are you having to register this as a capital gain?
So we are not tokenizing this. This is an open source distributed ledger that has existed for 5 years. We're just taking something that works. To us, this is just code, much like Python is used for backend, Java is used for backend, JavaScript used for Android. We use a specific code base that works really well for transferring value. As far as capital gains, I mean, it's just 5 cents, 25 cents. The IRS had a hard enough time catching people. They're not going to come after you for quarters and nickels. But yes, you would have to technically.
If only I could get the IRS to pay me 5 cents to actually talk to me. Right here.
So, cool concept. I like the idea that you're paying me for my time to get marketed to. And I think that's a movement as well that's now beginning to take place in the market. I'm curious about one thing, because you mentioned that I only get paid if I stay on for 25 seconds. Is that accurate?
You only get paid if you hang up earlier than that 25 seconds, but businesses could start to use this as a way to negotiate with you for your time where they pay you some amount per minute, depending on what you think you should be paid per minute.
So how would this address the average consumer picking up the phone just for about 5 seconds and then dropping it just so that they can get paid? And then the marketers, those are people who you really are trying to help get through to the consumers, but the marketers are losing money in this process.
If they're losing that much money, their pitch probably isn't that good, and maybe they shouldn't be selling that product or service. So we essentially let the invisible hand of the market work itself out. So people who are really selling compelling products, and you are really interested in that, those businesses will succeed. And that's kind of the point of what we're doing, to make this telecommunication system return back to what it used to be, which was a means of establishing wanted communications.
Ruben, here in the back.
As a consumer, lovely product. As for my business, it's not going to work. I don't get it because I have one cell phone, I don't have two, and my business card has my cell phone number on it. So when I go to a trade show or I come to this event today and I hand out my business card and somebody tries to call me, I don't know who they are. It's going to block it, right? So if I'm trying to get business and they're calling me, it's blocking them. That's a problem, right?
Yes, I agree. This isn't for you at this moment. So in the very beginning, our average consumer is going to be average Joe who just, works somewhere, doesn't rely on incoming calls to further his livelihood. But along the way, we hope to expand to become large enough to where everyone is used to using the Robocash system. But really, we need people who are more annoyed with spam than they are concerned with receiving legitimate incoming calls. But eventually, we want to grow out to serve you properly.
Here in the back.
First of all, I want to say that you have improved significantly since the last time that you were here. Such a better presentation. Obviously, Evo Nexus has really helped you. And so I echo what Ruben just said. I agree with that 100%. But also my other concern is my privacy, is that to use your app, is that obviously I'm going to be giving a lot of access to things like my phone book and who my contacts are, and the privacy of that data that you could potentially sell to other organizations or use would make me leery. So how are you going to address the privacy?
We keep all your data locally on your phone. We don't actually need to see your contact. We just take a hash of that, which means we make it so that just a bunch of jumbled numbers and letters. And then we compare a bunch of jumbled numbers and letters, see if they match what is on your database, and if so, that's a contact. So we don't actually look at your contact. We don't know your phone numbers, but we know that it matches a hash of it.
Up front.
Hey, so if you're only targeting people who aren't concerned about incoming calls like the gentleman in the back was, how are you going to be able to compete with something like block? There are apps out there that just block all unknown numbers. If I'm truly a consumer who doesn't get any incoming calls like the gentleman in the back, then how are you going to compete with something like that? Which is
Well,
free.
we're going to make it basically spend the cash back part of it. We want to. That's why we have cash in our name, is to kind of get that back in your head and ingrain that in your brain that you're going to get cash back. That's kind of our play. We appeal to one of the most innermost feelings that humans have, which is greed, and so that's how we want to basically cross that boundary. And also, silence unknown callers means that no one can call you. It basically destroys what a phone is meant to be, in my opinion. We actually give a way to bypass our filter with a nano composite, so that's a value add that we have compared to silent unknown callers. Thank you.
How does it work with like Google Voice and automated those kind of systems?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
Yeah, as far as like Google numbers or Skype calls and that kind of stuff, does that integrate as well?
If it's a phone number, it can integrate just fine. If it's like with Skype, sometimes it's just a name. That is a little more difficult. We haven't looked quite into that yet. We want to start off with just phone numbers now and then see where we can grow out to later.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to speak to this man after, it will only cost 7 cents. All right, ladies and gentlemen, robocall.